Here's the paraphrase. You're convinced they're staying. That conviction is exactly what blinds you. Every text back, every "I care about you," every moment they show up, it all reads as evidence of something mutual. But the minimum they're giving isn't affection. It's maintenance, enough to hold your position while they scan the horizon for something better. You're not who they want. You're what's available until they find who they want. There's a clinical term for this structure: asymmetrically committed relationship. One person all in, one person positioned at the exit. Research doesn't frame this as harmless or neutral. It's corrosive. Sociologist Peter Blau identified the mechanism decades ago. Extreme imbalance in investment either opens the door to exploitation or breeds resentment in whoever holds the lesser stake. Neither outcome leaves room for anything real. Choosing someone harder can't be willed into existence. All you can do is stay long enough to eventually recognize the choice was already made. Just not in your favor. Sign 1. The future lives in their mouth, not their calendar. They paint pictures, trips, plans, a life that sounds close enough to touch. The tone is warm, the direction seems clear, but no reservation gets made, no date gets set. Scientists studying how commitment actually forms have found that concrete future planning, not history, not present contentment, is one of the sharpest indicators of whether someone is genuinely in. Real intention produces specificity. A person building toward you names a week, a month, an actual moment in time. Vague future talk without any of that isn't a signal of direction. It's a tool for managing your expectations while requiring nothing from them. Sign 2. You occupy a pocket of their life, not the whole thing. Maybe you've crossed into their social circle once or twice, briefly. Family either remains off limits, or the introduction was engineered to be ambiguous enough to reverse without friction. Online, you exist somewhere in the background, present but never named. The relationship has edges. You can feel them. Here's what that boundary actually protects: their availability. Studies on commitment asymmetry show that people who perceive themselves as having options tend to be the ones with the weaker investment. Keeping you separated from the rest of their world isn't about privacy. It's about keeping one hand free. Someone who has decided on you pulls you into their life because that's where their life now includes you. Consistent separation isn't discretion. It's containment. Sign 3. The effort tracks your distance, not their feelings. They do things, they say things that land. There are moments where it feels unambiguous, but stretch your view across time and a shape emerges. Effort rises when you pull back, eases when you're secure. It isn't steady. It moves in direct response to how much they stand to lose access to you. That's not love operating, that's a thermostat. Research on commitment behavior found that less invested partners often consciously modulate how much they give. Enough to maintain closeness, never enough to actually cost them anything if they walked. They're not lost or confused. They're adjusting the dial. When someone's investment in you rises and falls with your availability rather than their own feelings, what you're watching is calculation. Sign 4. Naming the relationship becomes your problem to apologize for. You've tried to have the conversation. What is this? Where is it going? What are we? And somehow the attempt itself became the issue. You were moving too fast. Labels are reductive. What matters is what exists between you, or it escalated and you ended up managing their reaction instead of getting your answer. Research is direct about what that ambiguity produces. When one partner won't stake a clear claim, the other loses the ability to feel stable, anticipate what comes next, or make choices for their own life based on accurate information. That fog isn't incidental, it's load-bearing. Someone who's genuinely chosen you won't be destabilized by the question. They might fumble the words, but they won't make you feel like asking was an offense. Sign 5. Your instinct has been correct the entire time. You've just been arguing against it. Before you had words for any of this, something in you already knew, a low, persistent signal, that the footing was uneven, that you were leaning further in than they were, that you were constructing something with someone who hadn't fully picked up their end. You know exactly what that feeling is. And you've been building a case against it ever since. They're going through something. They've been damaged before. They just need more time. An enormous amount of mental energy has gone into neutralizing a signal that required no analysis to begin with. Research into placeholder dynamics points to gut instinct as one of the most consistent early markers of commitment imbalance. Not because it's infallible, but because the nervous system processes behavioral patterns that the conscious mind is actively choosing to discount. The data was always there, the deflections, the moments of almost being chosen, the future that keeps moving just out of reach. Your system has been compiling it. You've been leaving it unopened. What now? First, manufacturing distance to spark their pursuit is a short game with no ending. It might briefly raise their effort. Less committed partners do respond to threatened access, but nothing structural changes. The moment you stop the performance, everything resets. Second, ask directly, then read the full response. The hesitation, the pivot, the sudden reframe, that's where the real answer is. Someone who wants you makes that legible, even imperfectly. Third, and hardest, account for what time in this is actually costing. Every month held in something that isn't moving toward what you need is a month spent unavailable to something that might. That compounds. A year of it, 2 years. That's a serious debt, paid in patience and self-erasure and the slow contraction of who you are to fit someone who is never fully present. You are not a stop along the way. And nothing about staying where you're already being treated as temporary will get you to somewhere you're not.